What's up, hockey heads? It's your buddy Choppadong. I am going to run through a slate walkthrough. We've got some really early games today. I don't typically do these things on Saturday. You'll hear why probably in a little bit. I have family, I have kids. I don't have a soundproof studio, so you might hear a lot of ruckus in the background, and I apologize in advance, but you get what you pay for, and that's sort of why we follow these amateur blogs anyway. Hopefully we learn something from it. We target some NHL key spots, and we hear, wife and kids making cinnamon rolls and stuff in the background because that's just what we do on Saturday mornings around here. So let's dive in. As always, you can always find me on Twitter at Choppadong. I appreciate the help with February or March sweeps as it is now. A lot of retweets going on, a lot of spreading the word, spreading the love, and people signing up at the site, which is great. Hopefully we push towards unlocking that second guy here sometime soon, or that second paid comped sub that comes out of my own pocket, by the way. So if you want to see me burn money, let's not watch me play DFS. Let's retweet the crap out of some of my posts. Let's spread the love. Easiest thing to do before we dive into the NHL research station at DFS Army, which of course links in the comments section. Like, subscribe, notifications. You know the whole routine, right? NHL.com. Sometimes it just periodically makes sense to check this page and gather who's been scoring lately and who hasn't. I know I've got a last 10 game sample size over on the research station that does that, but sometimes this one will do a little bit different job, looking more or less at who's given up goals to, shots, all that sort of stuff. So let's walk through that one more time, spend about 2-3 minutes on it. Noticing there's 55, 56 games a lot of teams have played. Are we really getting up on about 3/4 of the season is played? We just had the All-Star break. I really, really hate it when they do All-Star breaks, at the 2/3 mark. I like it when it's halfway. And of course, I know it's not in a lot of sports, but it is what it is. We're really coming down in the stretch here. We're really starting to get set for playoff hockey. I know they're talking about it on the radio and stuff. Hopefully your team's involved. The easiest thing to do is go game by game here, and let's establish a date. Instead of going all the way back to the beginning of the season, let's just go back about 2 weeks to, I don't know, randomly chosen right there. We sum the results, we run the report, and we'll see over the last couple of weeks who's basically been performing. 6 games. We need to go back a little further. Need to get back on the other side of that All-Star break. Let's go back about 2.5 weeks. 7 or 8 games. I'd rather, small sample size, whatever. We're just going to roll with that. As opposed to the 10-game sample size you'll see in the research station. Goals for, there's your top teams. Carolina, believe it or not. Chicago, we knew. Toronto, Winnipeg, Washington, Columbus, San Jose, Buffalo, Montreal, Pittsburgh, round out your top 10. Philly's knocking on the door. Goals against, Anaheim, Buffalo. These are the teams you should be attacking. Washington, Arizona, Pittsburgh. So Anaheim, Buffalo. I'm writing these down because I want to attack them today. And Pittsburgh. There's your top 5. And your top 10, Carolina, Chicago. Like I say all the time, I do an awful lot of writing these things down because then I can actually look on paper. I can write faster than I can put together some kind of a spreadsheet. I'm a big fan of do it once and the work repeats itself, kind of automated style. Look at Buffalo in the top 10. So there's your top 5 and your top 10. These are definitely the matchups you're looking for if they play each other, for sure. You can do shots for, you can do shots against. If you want to go to like a Corsica.hockey.com, you can probably do scoring chances. Those are always really good. Another place to go, in case you're wondering, is Fantasy Labs. They have a free graphic that's pretty cool. So free pub for them. Come down here to trends. Maybe it's team ratings. That's what it is. It's team ratings. So if I go to their team ratings, then I can look and sort out by who's trending up and who's trending down. There's your Corsi 4, which is any shot directed at the goal. There's your goals for. There's your expected fantasy points and an overall rating. So this is DraftKings, obviously. 46 points down to about, there's a lot in the 42, 43 range. So let's go to the 44. Find a tier 1 threshold. So we're looking at Tampa Bay, Calgary, Winnipeg, Philly, San Jose. Those are the teams that are supposedly in a good spot to do well tonight. That's one way to look at it. You can also go to defense for the month and go to goals against, fantasy points allowed. Who's allowing all the fantasy points to get? Colorado, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Anaheim. These are the teams that we should be targeting for fantasy production. So it's just another way to look at the same thing. Let's dive into the research station here really quick and see if any of these teams don't match up against each other. You've got Minnesota scoring okay lately, giving up some goals. Going up against New Jersey, who has not been scoring much lately, and they are giving up goals. So it's a decent spot for Minnesota. I would be focused on the second line, being that they're on the road, but it's not exactly one of the spots I would really target. It's a 105 game, so we'll go all the way down to the 105s, and then we'll break, and then we'll come back and do the 6 o'clocks on a separate, not a separate video, but just a little bit of a separate mind frame as we go. Detroit not scoring a ton, not giving up a ton. Buffalo scoring more, giving up more. So that's a good spot for Buffalo, and it's a good spot, not so much in that Detroit's given up a lot of goals, but the Buffalo is scoring, and Detroit's a little bit middle of the road, whereas Detroit is scoring a little bit, and Buffalo's given up a lot, as we already saw. So Detroit's in a pretty good spot tonight. Again, line 2, typically on the road. Unless you can dig in deeper and find the specific line-to-line matchups where you know who Buffalo's shutdown defensive line is, if they even are one. And then you can probably put them up against a top producing line because you can figure Buffalo has home ice, home shift advantage. They're going to try and match their defensive players up against the best offensive players and shut them down on Detroit, if that even matters or if that's even something you can identify. I know for some teams you can, maybe for these 2 teams you can't, but that's what you're targeting, and that may open up another one. That's how we found Draisaitl the other night over on Edmonton, and knew he was going up against a crappy defensive line in Chicago, and was more likely than usual to score a goal, in which case he did score a goal. He just didn't end up with a multi-point game where really smashed value and made him a key component on a 14-game slate like we thought he might. Scrolling down a little bit, Colorado, the top line's really slacking lately, and as a result, their goals for are down. Their goals against are up. That puts New York in a good spot if they could only score goals. Look at these goals against for New York. It's going to be a tough game for Colorado on the road. You know, Colorado can erupt at any point in time, but New York, odds are, is going to keep their goals down and below their average of, 3 per game. They might only score 2 or 3 tonight, and they might get, 3 if they're lucky. So I wouldn't be counting on them for some 4, 5, 6 goal blow up that really leads to a ton of fantasy juice, But it's not like New York has a powerful enough offense they can really capitalize on this either. And a lot of their skaters are running a little bit cold right now as well. Looking through here, what do we got? LA, nothing again. Allowing some goals. Boston not scoring a ton, not allowing a ton. So this game's kind of meh. Although LA's been heating up, I might look at them. I don't like the ITT of a 2, but that's just a base for the Vegas to start guessing off of as far as what's the bettors are going to take the over, the under, or whatever. Not necessarily a barometer of what they predict is going to happen in that game. It's just what they think is going to get people to bet both sides equally. Anaheim giving up a ton of goals against puts Philly in a great spot. Philly is scoring some goals lately, so I like Philly tonight. That'd be top line this afternoon. Philly in matinees. I've heard a lot of chirping inside our coaching forums about Philly in matinees plays really well. So that might be a little bit of a boost to them too if you believe in narratives. I do like Philly tonight anyway, so it'll be interesting to see if that one pans out. So Philly, maybe Detroit, maybe a little bit of Minnesota. Don't think I can really go all the way with the New York Islanders. Colorado's largely going to be overpriced. I'll probably be out of this game. 205 if the Blues are on that early slate. Blues at home versus Nashville. Now, again, Nashville's a defensive team, more or less. I don't see the Blues scoring 5 goals. I mean, they can win the game. Bennington, Jake Allen, it's a tough call. You're going to have to follow the confirm on this because we've got a straight-up goalie competition. Bennington's had the last 7 starts or so, but this weekend being a home and home, tomorrow they're in Nashville, so there's going to be a Jake Allen start in there. Whether they give Jake Allen the home start or the road start, where Jake Allen's much better on the road, that's fine, but that puts Bennington on the start tonight or today, which means that Bennington comes back from Tampa Bay and starts on just 1 day rest. They may give it to Jake Allen and then save Bennington for the road start in Nashville tomorrow to get him a little bit extra rest. I really don't know which way that was going to pan out. Follow a beat writer or follow the confirm page, Daily Faceoff, Left Wing Lock type stuff, and see what they don't end up confirming today, because this one could go either way. But I don't see this game being a ton of fantasy goodness. I don't see St. Louis blowing up, and I don't see, and allowing a ton of goals. I don't see Nashville doing it to them. I see them scoring a couple of goals each, but this is a division game, both playoff teams heading down the stretch here. This is a very important home and home for St. Louis. You're going to get their best. You're probably going to get Nashville's best because there's a little bit of hate in this rivalry. And I think that what you're going to see is a little bit more playoff hockey, which leads to a little bit lower scoring. But before we get into the actual playoffs, I want to avoid playoff hockey type situations in general. Winnipeg and Ottawa. Winnipeg's been scoring okay, not giving up a ton. Ottawa's been scoring, a little less than okay and not giving up a ton either. So this game isn't really appealing to me. Winnipeg on the road. The one thing I will say is watch Patrick Laine. He's getting no ownership whatsoever, and he's going to come around. He's still putting a lot of shots on net. He's going to come around, and when he comes around, he's only like 6,800 on Fanduel, which is ridiculous. Good GPP one-off for sure. Dallas not scoring at all. Not giving up goals either. Arizona not scoring much, but giving up a little bit. I don't know if I can say this is a night game actually. I don't know if I can see, maybe it's a 3:05 game. I don't know if I can see Dallas and Arizona being too exciting. This is leading to more of a one-off type slate. We're not seeing a lot of these guys match up that I'm noticing with big scoring teams going against teams giving up goals. Washington should be giving up a lot of goals. They're not scoring a ton lately, even though over the past, say, 6 or 7 games, they're up on the list in the top 10. They are giving up goals against, so Florida, your Dadonov, Barkov, Vetrano types, Ekblad, Yandel. Those guys are in good spots. They may be a little bit sneaky, a little under the radar. Over on the Washington side, you probably find a Kuznetsov. Of course, everyone's going to love Ovechkin. Oshie, those are good spots as well. Pittsburgh Penguins not scoring a ton. They are giving up goals. Tampa Bay probably pissed off Saturday that St. Louis beat them and shut them out. Not giving up a lot of goals. They roll those lines really, really balanced. I can see them putting up some goals against Philly. I like Tampa at home. I like the top line. San Jose been scoring a ton lately. Giving up goals too. That's good for both sides here. This is a good night game. Lots of San Jose in play. Top players in Edmonton are in play. Toronto, another offense we should be watching. Montreal's not giving up goals, though. It's kind of a negative situation. Calgary scoring a ton. Vancouver, not really elite defense, but tougher at home. Calgary maybe sort of in play, but not like those others that you can hear me get a little bit excited about. Columbus scoring fairly well. Vegas giving up a little bit, so Columbus is in an okay spot. Vegas has some cheap players on them as well. Shea Theodore being one. These are decent little one-offs to run it back. So that's typically what you're looking for. If you've ever seen me go into this next page, I'll blow it up, make it a little bit bigger for you here. This is one of my favorite pages in all of hockey research because I can then scroll over and compare my last 5 and my last 10 games. So, you may wonder why you even go to NHL.com and look at anything. And well, I want an overall scope view sometimes, but really and truly, I don't go there very often anymore because these 2 pages right here, this last 10 games, last 5 game sample size, look at these guys scoring the goals, scoring the points. And you can judge based on Draisaitl at 27 and 33, he's still maintaining his 10-game average. In fact, he's running a little bit hotter. He's still a buy. Jonathan Drouin, 31 points versus 20 points. 31 points versus 20 for Thomas Hertl, 24. Brent Burns, 22 versus 30. Anyone who's higher in this in this last 5-game column than their last 10 game is still running hot, and their prices are increasing, and they're not catching their production yet. They're trailing their production or lagging their production. What you want to watch for is guys maybe a little bit down the list here, that 24 and a 21. So Giordano maybe is cooling off some. His prices dip back below his 10-game baseline, and Couture's has as well. Nope, Couture's still running hot. Where was I? I was looking at Sebastian Aho. So if Aho and Giordano, which are 2 typical value plays that we love rostering, are actually running below their average, now they're pretty close. Aho especially sustained 22 and 24. But if you start seeing bigger gaps, like you see a big 20-game number here, 13, 22.8. See, this is not right. 23, 22.8. This is just the same. Evander Kane's holding his own. I'm looking for, if I can find some down in here, 20, 21, 19.9. Let's scroll down a little further, 22.4, 17.6. There's one. Steven Stamkos might be a bit of a sell right now. 26.5 for Erik Karlsson, 18.8. See, there's a decent gap where it's flip-flop, whereas before we're looking for a higher number here than here. When we see the higher number here as opposed to here, it's a guy whose price was going up a couple of weeks ago, and now that his production has cooled back off, his price is probably too high for his production. So he's probably somebody you should avoid, somebody you should fade. I don't care if it's Sidney Crosby. I don't care if it's, Eric Carlson. Scroll down here a little bit more and see if we can't find one of the bigger names. There's Sidney. Sidney's 15.1 over his last 10 games, which is not good for his price, 15.6. So you could say, okay, he's steady, he's producing, he's holding over 10 games, but he's like a $9,000 player. You need to see 18, 20, 22 points out of him on Fanduel to make value. If he's $8,000 on DraftKings, you need to see about 8 points out of him on average, and you're seeing about 4. That's not good. So he's a sell. Can he erupt at any point in time? Sure. But he's not somebody you should be playing right now. That's the secret to hockey and timing this market up and down. The other thing that I will do when I've sorted by those last 5 games, so we'll come over here. I'll kick on to just my defenders. I'll start defense, then I'll do wings, then I'll do centerman or something like that. And I'm going to be looking for out of price guys. Defender, $5,700 for Jake Triva, right? $5,500 for Shea Weber. These are out of price guys. They should be $6,000 and $7,000 players up here at the top of this list. These prices have not caught up. These are value plays, even though they're expensive. Even though $5,500 is a lot to pay for a defender, he's still a value. You're buying points. You're buying value most of the time. $4,800, Ryan Suter. $4,100, Sanheim. Sanheim's been on this list for a while. Have you been playing him? $5,200. Now you're getting down in here where you should see the fives, the $5,500, $5,200 guys. So you see a guy down in here that's a $5,700 guy. He's not a value, but a $3,900 guy, and Tyler Myers is. You need to be looking at Tyler Myers, line 2, power play unit 2. What's up with him? What's he doing? So let's scroll over here and let's check on him. Tyler Myers, 17 blocks. So he's a penalty kill type of guy. 38 shots and blocks combined. 10 fantasy points for 3,900 is great on FanDuel. 3,000 or 3 points on DraftKings is okay. Come over here, you've got really not a lot of production. 1 goal, 3 assists. But what you're looking at is the shot on block goal floor. This 20 is over half of the 38, so he's ascending still. He's either getting more ice time, getting more minutes, getting more opportunity, or he's just shooting the puck more because his coach finally got through to his head. Something. 15 points versus the 10 points. He's a clear buy signal. His 5-game production is over his 10-game production. He's priced according to more of his 10-game production, which means he's a bargain. He's like a 5-point bargain tonight. Is he an all-in type of play for me? Probably not, but he is somebody I'm going to look at for cheap. If I need cheap value to make a stack work somewhere, I'm going to reach for him every day of the week at $3,900 because he's proving that he's outperforming his price. He's bringing me value. I look at centerman, I do the same thing. This is just the easiest way to go through this thing. $6,200 for Thomas Hertl. Duh. We just mentioned him. Picked him out in other stuff. Couturier is a very cash-safe, typically a very cash-safe player. $6,500 for Kopitar. $3,500 for Sebastian. That's the wrong Sebastian Aho. That is the New York Islanders' Sebastian Aho. Very, very expensive. Not a lot of value here. You're going to be paying $6,000 for somebody. It's just the way it's going to go. So we kick on the wings. See if we can't find some value here. $6,300 for Druin. Hello. Top of the list with $8,500 and $9,000 players on this list. He's the top of the list at $6,300. Save the $2,000. Pasternak is right where he should be priced. Ovechkin, right where he should be priced. Those are gambles. You want to play those guys? Maybe they have a good game. Maybe they don't. They're priced about right. They're not priced at a bargain. They're not on sale. Jonathan Drouin right now, the way he's playing right now, he's on sale. His price is not reflective of his production. $3,600 for Roslovic, still up on this list. That's amazing to me. I need to look into his game logs. It's still just that one big 55-point hat trick game that is on that list. This is a trap. This is like in NBA we talk turd traps. In NHL, this is a turd trap. $7,400, $8,200, $5,600 Toffoli, somebody you should be watching. $4,800, Josh Anderson, definitely somebody you should be watching. $4,500, Vetrano, yes, you've been hearing me preach about him for a week. Down here, $4,300, Vanek, another one you should watch. These are your value guys. Levo in Vancouver, these are your value guys. You have a few of these guys in mind. You may or may not be completing stacks with them, but you have a few of these guys in line that you can reach for as one-offs, and then that allows you to go roster your Pasternaks, your Ovechkins, your whatever, because you've rostered the value in advance. You know you're going to need it. You know you're going to use it. You know it springs the trap on big value or big stacks that are producing right now and are just kind of priced right. This is where you get your value, and then you go and you just pay normal prices for the other stuff that are in great spots. Either way, this is how you walk through this machine. This is how you walk through the slate. You're going to have to pay attention when I'm talking about the names specifically, who plays early, who plays late. But you saw on the earlier slide who plays early and the games we might target. It doesn't look like there's a lot of the big goal scorers matching up against the big goal giver-uppers, if you will. But we do definitely have some stuff to key in on tonight. Hopefully you can get this processed and get this done, build some decent lineups. We'll be in the coaching forums talking hockey this morning with our coaches, Flynn, Del, Anthony may pop in there. I may pop in there. You never know. But you've got a couple of coaches that are always in there manning the ship and helping you guys guide your lineups to bigger and better lineups and better results. We've had a lot of success in hockey lately. Hopefully we continue it on. Follow the link in the comment section down there, dfsarmy.com. Coupon code CHOP, CHOP, for that 20% off. Get in here this weekend. Start winning. Start winning and start playing NBA, PGA, NFL. NBA, NFL's over. MLB's coming. NASCAR's coming. We got a lot of great stuff in store for you at DFS Army. We're revamping our optimizer again for some of these upcoming sports. And we are also revamping the research station and putting out content in a little bit more scheduled format with coaches' picks on every single slate. So we're always improving, always getting better, always trying to stay ahead of the DFS curve. There's no better place to join, better community to join, the DFSarmy.com. Like and subscribe to the channel. Use that coupon code CHOP for 20% off, and I'll see you guys on the inside. Take care.